That's a clown question, bro.
Hi, what's up on yes?
So I'm gonna kick some dirt.
He gets on base.
Just a bit outside.
I'm not the type of player that's going to be Johnny Hustle.
If you don't want me to watch the ball, you can go get it out of the ocean.
And welcome to the show to be named later, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, it's been a good day because of the Baseball Hall of Fame. They have done it. They have announced the ballot for this year's election.
Yes, they have. Finally, we know who is on this ticket. We've been awaiting for so long. And
a lot of people were wondering, is Alex Rios going to make it? Turns out he didn't.
He did not make the ballot.
He did not make it. Corey Hart did not make it. Grady Sizemore did not make it. Various people did not make it. But the ones who, I mean, obviously, if you don't make the ballot, it's not like you're getting votes anyway.
Pretty much.
Nonetheless, we have the 25 people that will be competing for their shot at unanimity or at immortality in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Correct. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for people like us because we're supposed to be the people.
If you're a diehard baseball fan, this is your favorite part of the offseason, without a question. All right, real quick, the players who were eligible for the ballot that didn't make it are Grady Sizemore, Corey Hart, Adam LaRoche, Alex Rios, Dan Uggla, CJ Wilson, Rafael Soriano, and Aaron Harang.
Yeah, it is weird when people are on the Hall of Fame ballot and you remember a significant portion of their career because I start to feel a little older.
Like Grady Sizemore was on a Hall of Fame trajectory for like 2 or 3 years in like 06, 07.
Yeah, he was like a legit MVP finalist in like 2006, 2007. And then eventually found himself on the Red Sox in 2014. And
he found himself hitting opening day home runs for the 2014 Red Sox.
Yeah, and if you were an outfielder
against the team that we covered.
Yeah, if you were an outfielder on the 2014 Red Sox, it wasn't great. Daniel Nava, Jacoby Ellsbury had left. Shane Victorino was back to being just an injured guy. There's Grady Sizemore, Jackie
Alan Craig
had like an OPS below 600. It was not great for the 2014 Red Sox outfield.
Alex Hassan.
Alex Hassan.
Garen Cicchini. He wasn't an outfielder, but Garen Cicchini.
Yeah, they had to be saved by Mookie Betts eventually.
Literally. but he came up as a second baseman though.
That's true, but I think they put him out in the outfield immediately, right?
They did. They put him in center that year.
Yeah.
Well, they had Cespedes too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they acquired Cespedes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had Betts and Cespedes.
Yeah, great out. And Bradley with great defense.
Yeah. Yeah, Betts was a center fielder until 2016.
Yeah.
And then Bradley took over. He went to right. Man, those were the days.
Before Red Sox fans had any idea what was to come.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically how we get we got there from Hall of Fame.
From Grady Sizemore because he was
Grady Sizemore missing the ballot. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's some intriguing first guys. There's definitely no slam dunk guys.
It's a weak first year class. There are guys, like the guys that are interesting because they could make it in 10 years. Like there's no one who's going to be like all these people will in 5 years will either have been kicked off the ballot or be hovering like 30%.
Yeah. Yeah, the headliners are definitely Mark Burley, Tim Hudson, Torrey Hunter, and I don't know if there's another guy in there.
That's okay. I'll just name off all the first years, and that's kind of it. Mark Burley, AJ Burnett, Michael Kadire, Dan Herron, LaTroy Hawkins, Tim Hudson, Torrey Hunter, Aramis Ramirez, Nick Swisher, and Shane Victorino and Barry Zito.
Oh, Shane Victorino and Grady Sizemore were both key parts of the 2014 Red Sox outfield. But yeah, Sizemore's not on the ballot. Victorino is.
Victorino's not going to get in though.
No, he is not. Although,
He's probably not going to get. Maybe he'll get 1% of the vote. I don't think he's going to get much of anything. He had
no,
31.5 wins above replacement. His best season was in 2013 when he had a 6-win season. Yeah, I mean, he didn't play past 34, which is, I mean, pretty much an automatic no in most cases.
unless you're Sandy Koufax
or Ralph Kiner.
Yeah, Ralph Kiner.
Pretty much the weirdest 12-year career ever.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
He literally played from ages 23 to ages 32, and ended up being a Hall of Famer. But he also had a 946 career OPS.
Yeah, he really. Yeah, he packed it in.
He was very, very peak heavy.
Very much.
Had 3 8-win seasons in his career.
Kiner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
That'll do it. Yeah, he didn't win MVP, but he came close.
No.
Mr. Kiner.
Yeah, so I mean, we don't have to get into cases yet, but I think there is a case to be made for Mark Burley. I think there can be a case to be made for Tim Hudson. Torrey Hunter is also a name. I don't really think I would make a case for him. I mean, I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I wouldn't do it personally. I don't think
I should take a look here. I mean, I don't know how many gold.
He won 9 Gold Gloves, which is really, listen, Torrey Hunter is one of the best defensive center fielders there ever was, which is saying something because there's been a lot of them, but I just don't think his offense really makes up for, I mean, 10 OPS plus, just hovering 50 wins above replacement on Baseball Reference.
I mean, you'd have to make the Vizquel argument. I think.
Yeah.
9 Gold Gloves and a 277 average. I mean, although,
but at least he had a 110 OP, but at least his OPS was literally 105 points above Vizquel's.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, I guess it shows, like, because Andrew Jones's OPS plus was 111, but I guess Jones was that much better of a.
Jones was much more peak heavy though.
Yeah, Jones was more peak heavy, and yeah, he had much better seasons, and I guess he was also a better center fielder.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering about the gap in wins above replacement, but
it definitely exists.
Yeah, Jones just ekes it out for.
I will tell you this. I tweeted this about a week or so ago. Andrew Jones in 2005 put up the only season in baseball history where a guy hit 50 home runs and had a D-WAR of at least 2.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And yeah, I think we're going to get into those bubble cases later on. I think we decided today that I think from next week's news episode up until like the announcement,
we'll do like one bubble candidate a week.
We'll do one bubble candidate a week. I think those guys include like Andrew Jones, Scott Rowland, Billy Wagner, Bobby Abreu,
Andy Pettit, Todd Helton.
Yes, Todd Helton.
Sosa.
Sammy Sosa, maybe Manny,
Wagner.
But that's Manny and Sosa are kind of different because it's like, they would have definitely been Hall of Famers if not for PED use, and it's whatever views you have on that you have, and you can't really change. It's hard to change that. So
same with Bonds and Clemens, because like whether you like to admit it or not, they are bubble cases, but it's not. The case that we have to make for them doesn't come on Baseball Reference. It doesn't come on Fangraphs. It comes with morality, and where we stand on that. So, I think a lot of people are established on whether they'd vote for Bonds or not before they even look at his Baseball Reference page, because there's no question. I mean, I say this with Bonds because he's more notable, but when I say Bonds, I also mean Clemens. I think people had decide whether they vote for him or not before looking at Baseball Reference, because there's no question that they were the best of all time at what they did.
Yeah, I mean, they're the literal all-time leaders in Cy Young awards and MVPs.
Correct. Each with 7. It's funny, they have so many similarities. Like they both retired after the same season. They both had 7 Cy Youngs or MVPs. Um, they both started their career. Didn't Clement start his career in 86 too, or is that 85? It was 84. Never mind.
84, yeah.
They had similar career lengths. And they're I mean,
Yeah, it is.
you could argue that they are the best hitter and pitcher of all time.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. There definitely is a case to be made. Should we predict, like, out of the new guys, who's going to stay on the ballot?
Ooh, I like that. Okay, I think Burley stays. I think Burnett goes. I think Kadire goes. I think Hawkins goes. I think Hudson. I'm going to say Hudson goes. I don't think Tim Hudson stays on. I think Torrey Hunter stays. Aramis Ramirez goes. Swisher goes. Victorino goes. And Zito also goes. So I think just Burley and Hunter stay on.
I'm thinking Burley, Hunter, and Hudson both stay on. And I'm trying to look at Zito. No, Zito's not going to stay on.
Tim Hudson definitely could stay on, but I don't think he will. I don't know if 5% of the voters are gonna make a case for him.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the traditional numbers, but I mean, in terms of staying on, because I know some guys just vote just to keep
some people do vote for people just so they can stay on, which is really stupid. I mean, I think there are some guys that have kind of gotten screwed by not being able to stay on. Like I think Lance Berkman is a guy who had a chance, but he just couldn't stay a year on the ballot.
Yeah. Who else? I'm trying to think where they might be looked at differently, but I'm not sure.
Lance Berkman had a 943 career OPS.
Yeah, and like pretty similar.
He had 1.2%, I think.
Yeah, pretty similar numbers to like Edgar Martinez and stuff, who people were lobbying very hard to get him into the Hall of Fame, rightfully so. But yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, I think those 3 stay on, and like I wouldn't be shocked to see like.
I want to see how many people stayed on last year. Is Abreu the only second year on the ballot? Because I mean, obviously Jeter got in, but let's face it, there are no first ballot Hall of Famers this year. That's not happening. Yeah, Bobby Abreu is the only second year. So
yeah,
he and Jeter were the only ones who eclipsed 5% last year.
Yeah.
And Bobby Abreu got like 5.5%, so it was close.
Yeah, Abreu, honestly, I could see like being inducted in like 2028 or something like that.
I could see it too. Like I wouldn't, and honestly, I don't think I'd complain that much either.
Yeah, because I like initially when I heard Bobby Abreu, and we'll get into this more when we kind of cover him as a bubble case. Initially, when I heard Bobby Abreu, it's like, nah, he's not gonna get in. And then I kind of looked at his stats, and like combination of OPS and stolen bases was very, very good. I think what happened with a lot of those guys in the 90s is, you know, they were kind of in a period of excellence. Like there were a lot of excellent players in like the mid 90s to early 2000s, and some guys just got mixed in there. But like if you put them in a different era, they'd be outstanding. And I think Bobby Abreu might be one of those guys.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Bobby Abreu, like I've seen a lot on Twitter for him. And I get it. Like, I think there's a case to be made. I don't really know why he was just never as well known, but like he quietly like put up a very possible Hall of Fame case. It could just be that he played for a lot of bad teams. Like when he was on the Phillies, he left before 2008. When he was on the Yankees, he left before 2009. He was on the Angels before they had Trout, but they did go to the postseason a couple times, but they didn't really make a ton of noise those years. Yeah, I think there certainly can be a case to be made for Bobby Abreu. I don't know if this year is the year that I start making the case, but it's something I definitely am going to look at this year.
It's just it's something to take a gander at.
Yeah.
You know,
I haven't filled out my ballot yet. I usually wait a little bit, but I have 9 spots that I know I'm going to use, and I've been looking for who's going to be the 10th. I have a few guys tossed up in my mind, and Bobby Abreu is one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm starting to think about adding guys, kind of maxing it out at 10, because last year I only
Last
had
year-
6.
I did too.
Yeah, last year I only had 6, and I think a lot of guys deserve it because the period we're talking about, the period of time, is like these guys kind of peaked in the late 90s to early/late aughts, and that was a time where a lot of people were good. So I don't think them kind of getting mixed in with a lot of other guys that were good should go against them.
Random question, Chris. Did you have Scott Rowland last year? I'm trying to remember. who you
I
had.
did not.
You did not. Okay. Might be an interesting thing to look at this year.
Yeah, I did. I have
think-
looked at him. I did a lot of
I'll
Hall
get
of
more
Fame
into this, but I
research.
think Scott Rowland is the most underrated player on this entire ballot.
Yeah, there's definitely a case there. And I think, what I was about to say was I did a lot of Hall of Fame research during quarantine.
I did
Like,
too. I basically
was-
filled out my ballot during quarantine.
Yeah.
Because I remember in April, I was just sitting on my bed like, well, Burley's going to be there. Torrey Hunter's going to be there. Those are probably the main two. So, I mean, if you have this, you no longer have Jeter and Walker on the ballot. So now you got more spaces to fill.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be adding this guy and that. Like, I already know 2 people that I'm going to be adding this year.
Mhm.
So, we'll see.
Yeah, there was no baseball, so it was like, all right, well, now
I
it's
guess
Hall
we'll
of
do
Fame
this now.
season.
I was like, hey, Hall of Fame, you want to just get this going now?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
We'll just bump A-Rod and Ortiz, that class, up a year. We'll do that this winter.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really funny if Kurt Schilling gets in this year. Like, if he's the only one that gets in, and then he has to share a Hall of Fame weekend with Derek Jeter.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, both of them would not like that, but it'd be hilarious.
yeah, I don't know, I don't know what the dynamic between them would be, the 2004 rivalry.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they'll probably just like take a couple like jabs at each other, but it's hard. Jeter can't really do that at Schilling because like in 03, Schilling wasn't there. So like you can't really laugh at Schilling about beating him in 03 because you didn't.
Oh yeah, and
I mean, I guess Schilling he has 01 and 04.
Yeah, that's true. He did that. Yeah, he did it in 01 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's that. I guess that's interesting, but it's not as interesting as it would be if he like went in with A-Rod, or I mean, A-Rod's not going to get in first year, but
no.
like Bonds or Clemens.
I don't know. I don't know when the next first year would be. Like
I
maybe
think Ortiz
Adrian
might get
Beltre,
in first
Beltran.
year.
Do you think Ortiz gets in first year?
He could possibly, just based on the playoff stuff. He's a legend. Like,
But he's also an alleged PED user because he was on the Mitchell report.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, if he never got,
I mean, obviously the Ortiz PED case is much, much different from the A-Rod one. And I think A-Rod is such a different case, so I really don't know. I've been thinking for 4 years what I would do with A-Rod, and I still have no idea if I'm going to vote for him or not next year.
Yeah. Everything's different. Everything's everything's a different case.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's Hall of Fame season. So I guess we should talk about.
I think, by the way, just to answer my own question, I think Beltran would be the next first year Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
He retired after 2017. He had about 70 wins above replacement on Baseball Reference. I mean, I think he deserves to be in, period.
Mhm.
I think the one thing that would be held over his head is his involvement with the Astros scandal. And maybe there'll be more information out about that when his time comes, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the one thing that makes it difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Beltran around 70 wins above replacement.
Yeah,
a very good postseason resume, so it would make sense if he got in first ballot. So, outside of Hall of Fame, one of our favorite times of the year is also awards. We did a full awards breakdown in last week's news episode, and they eventually got announced. And did we Did we pick all the same? I think we picked all the
I
same.
think we
right?
did, yeah. And we got 6 out of 8 correct.
Yeah, 6 out of 8. And my picks were also my predictions. I thought my picks would align with what was actually going to happen, but I was wrong.
One of mine was different. I said I wanted Devin Williams, but I thought they were going to give it to Cronenworth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong. They faith restored with the Rookie of the Year voting.
They did.
But yeah.
And I mean, to be honest, it's not as bad. It's not as egregious as I thought it was. Like the guy had an 0.33 ERA. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. Like that's ridiculous. 1 earned run all year, and it was in his second outing of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess that's where the award starts. The awards start is the Rookie of the Year vote, where Kyle Lewis wins AL Rookie of the Year. I think he got 20 first place votes.
Yeah.
That pretty handily. There was somewhat of a case for Luis Robert, but we both picked Kyle Lewis, and
Kyle Lewis was the correct pick.
Yeah, he was the correct pick. I guess we have all the Baseball Reference has all the voting results.
Chris, Kyle Lewis got all 30 first place votes.
Oh, dang.
It was unanimous.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Unanimous. I mean, I guess it makes sense. We both picked him, so. And then NL Rookie of the Year was a lot closer, and the runner-up was actually Alec Boehm with 9 first place votes.
It was a tie.
In
first place votes, yeah, but overall voting, it was a tie between Alec Boehm and Jake Cronenworth. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad what Alec Boehm did. By the way, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Ian Anderson, I think Sixto Sanchez as well. All of them have rookie eligibility next year, so they can get Rookie of the Year votes this year and then possibly win it next year.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I guess I'm a little surprised Sixto Sanchez got only 1 vote point at all.
I mean, so did Ian Anderson, and friggin' someone voted. I just want to know who voted for Andres Jimenez. Who did it?
Oh yeah.
Come on, what are we doing here?
I didn't realize Anderson only had 7 less innings than Sanchez, so I guess he's ahead.
I mean, luckily that's not the most ridiculous vote of the entire award process.
Oh, yeah, we'll
get into that when we get there.
And
but yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Chris.
Yeah, there's a nice article written about that, explaining that. That was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. Let me find out who voted for Jimenez. It was a New York writer. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Anderson got 1 vote. It was from Jack McCaffrey from Philly. So, thank you to him for getting my guy out there. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people. This vote was definitely a little more diverse. Williams ultimately was the pick, but Boehm did get some first place votes. Cronenworth got plenty of them. Even Tony Gonsolin got a first place vote in this one. So I mean, it was very diverse. There were a lot of good rookies this year in the National League that were deserving, and luckily some of them we get to see have another chance.
Yeah, that is true, and yeah, there was a good. Yeah, I agree. Definitely a good rookie class. There were guys that were lower on the list that had very good performances, like Ian Anderson, Sixto Sanchez, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Dustin May. Even Dustin May. Dustin May was kind of a favorite heading into this, one of the favorites heading into the season, and he got in 5th place, and he didn't even really disappoint. He had a 2.57 ERA, so it was a good class of rookies, especially from the National League.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they did their, Devin Williams obviously is the rightful owner of that Rookie of the Year of the trophy. You're probably never going to see a season like that again, and you really only saw that season because of COVID. In a longer season, that ERA probably does even out a bit more. But regardless, an incredible year by Devin Williams. I'm really excited to see if he can keep it going forward. And do you have anything other points you want to make, or do you want to move on?
No, I think they made the right choices there. So, and then the next night we get announced that Kevin Cash and Don Mattingly win Manager of the Year. So definitely got it right with American League Manager of the Year with Kevin Cash. And then we both had Jace Tingler, but you can't really get mad at a Don Mattingly pick.
Don Mattingly played for a team that just had to scramble to get a team on the field. That was their biggest priority for a reasonably large period of the season. Wasn't winning. It was just, can we field a team? Period. And with all that being said, Mattingly was able to A, field that team, and B, put a good product on the field, a product that won 31-29 and made the playoffs for the first time since 2003. This is a team that everybody, myself included, wrote off at the beginning of the season. And I mean, at the beginning of the season, I can tell you that's rightfully so. Like, I had them winning the Kumar Rocker sweepstakes. I had them getting the number 1 pick in the draft this year. So the Marlins, they obviously came out of nowhere. And yeah, Don Mattingly, despite Jace Tingler coming in as a first-year manager and bringing a last-place team from the previous season to the second-best record in the NL, Don Mattingly had to go through so much more than Jace Tingler did. And I'm glad that he got the Manager of the Year, even though I voted for someone else.
Yeah, storyline wise, Mattingly definitely gets it.
Absolutely.
Like in terms of who was the better manager this year, it's hard to gauge. We're big statistics guys. There's no real statistics to go with that.
It's Manager of the Year is a lot of feel, and they don't even, at times they don't even give it to the best manager. Like, a lot of the time it's just who had the bad team that did good this year.
Yeah.
That's and
I think in the AL they gave it to the best manager. It wasn't necessarily a comeback story like the Rays.
But there wasn't really like a comeback story that was enough to outseed. And I mean, the Rays even outperformed expectations, and we'll get to them later. I do have a couple more points I want to make about NL Manager of the Year.
Yep.
Byron Kerr of MASNsports.com, a Washington writer. I have several questions on why you gave Craig Counsell a first-place vote on your ballot. Like, I am trying to picture everything possible. I do not understand. This is a guy who had, I guess to his credit, he didn't really have much depth. However, his team wasn't good. They finished under 500. Yes, they did still make the playoffs, but they would have in no way been there in an expanded playoff format. His best player was one of the worst hitters in the league. What did Craig Counsell do to deserve a first-place vote this year?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think he should have won in 2018, but we know he's a good manager, but now is not the year.
No.
I guess the argument you could say is Yelich being bad made it more of a challenge for him to make the playoffs, but I can't really reward anyone for going 29-31 unless you're like, I know Mattingly went 31-29, but they were expected to be like a 15-16 win team.
You know something interesting? The one guy who gave David Ross a first place vote was a Miami writer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty wild. Yeah, it was an interesting race because of the different storylines. Tingler, we'll see. Tingler will probably have, more postseasons in his future where he can kind of show his manager skills and see where he is as a manager. But, Manager of the Year is a hard one to gauge. So can't complain too much about Don Mattingly getting the NL Manager of the Year. He had the most interesting team story for sure, at least of teams to make the playoffs. And then the next night, my birthday.
Well, same night, but we didn't talk about AL.
No, I'm talking about the Cy Young vote.
But we didn't talk about AL Manager of the Year.
We talked about it a little bit.
I think we should get more into it, though.
Yeah.
Kevin Cash of the Tampa Bay Rays was the manager of the year. This was a no-brainer. You can say whatever you want about the decision in game 6 to pull Blake Snell, and we've talked about that before. But obviously that couldn't be taken into consideration because this is an award that's voted on at the conclusion of the regular season. This team was and I know you had something different, Chris, but the expectation of this team was to play second fiddle to the Yankees and then maybe dethrone them in the postseason. The Rays completely undressed the Yankees all season and then dismissed them in the postseason. And Kevin Cash made that happen with a team that on paper wasn't as talented as the Yankees, but just through statistics and probabilities was able to find a way to beat them.
Yes, Cash is a guy to be trusted, and he should have. He's with this. He definitely earned Manager of the Year. We talked about it. He was a finalist in 2018 and 2019, and we kind of knew that he would eventually get one of these awards.
And this is a great year to get it.
And he got it. And I mean, he didn't have Charlie Morton the whole year, and Morton wasn't really that effective. I think he did well with during the regular season. He found that Blake Snell was definitely not as effective his third time through, and in fact, significantly less effective. So he put an innings limit on Snell. If you look at Snell, he didn't have very many innings per start. And that was kind of a good move on his part, letting the bullpen work that out. That was a move that, you kind of notice he used the most pinch hitters in the American League, and they had a 101 weighted runs created plus, so above average, you could say. We know that he's a chess player in terms of baseball, and he finally gets kind of nationally noticed for that.
He does. How funny would it have been if Rick Renteria won this?
It would have been the most hilarious thing ever,
especially for the guy they hired in his place. By the way, Tony La Russa, the White Sox new manager, got a second DUI charge in February, and because of COVID, they couldn't press charges, so they literally charged him the day before he was hired by the White Sox, and the White Sox knew that this was coming before they hired him, and they were like, no, not a problem. We'll take a 76-year-old man who has a second DOI charge, a history of racial slurs, and no managerial experience in the last 10 years when the game has changed drastically on this fun young team that doesn't really care what people think about them. I'm sure that'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, the only funnier thing that can happen is the White Sox have the best record in the American League and they win the World Series despite this situation.
Yeah. Well, free agents have openly said they wouldn't go to Chicago because of this.
Yeah. Didn't Stroman say that or something like that?
Stroman did say that. He wouldn't go to Chicago under La Russa.
Yeah. It's going to be a weird situation.
I'm sure it'll be fun to cover.
All right. Did I say the White Sox go 42-18? They're not going to play 60 games next year.
I had them going 31-29 at the beginning of the season because
I meant next year. Maybe that was in my head, but I don't know if I said it out loud. But in my head, I was thinking
season next year.
What if they go 42-18 next year? They're not going to do that because they're going to play 162 games.
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
I'm too wrapped up in the 60-game season.
Yeah, I don't have anything else on AL Manager of the Year.
Yeah, me neither. So we'll get into the Cy Young Awards. There was one where, it was a slam dunk, no doubt about it. There was another where it was debated. Some people disagreed with the results. We'll start with American League. I guess we've been documenting Shane Bieber's season kind of all year.
Yeah.
And how spectacular it was and how no one could, possibly come close to that in the American League. Do we want to give one last little send off for Shane Bieber's 2020 season?
I mean, Shane Bieber was the best pitcher in baseball from the first pitch on opening day because we literally talked about his opening day. One of our How About That's was Shane Bieber's opening day start at the beginning of the season. and he was straight up the best pitcher in baseball the whole way through the season. Every single time he got on the mound, he was the best pitcher in baseball. This was an absolute slam dunk. If it wasn't unanimous, it would be an absolute crime. And lo and behold, he won it unanimously. I mean, there's not much to say here other than they made the right choice. Everyone else is just fighting for second. So congratulations to Kenta Maeda on his fantastic season that he kind of broke out with. Shout out to the one Texas writer that gave Lance Lynn a second place vote.
Yeah. Shout out to him. Maybe he fell asleep on like August 15th when Lance Lynn was doing his thing.
Yeah. It literally was, by the way. It was Levy Weaver from The Athletic who gave Lance Lynn a second place vote.
Nice. I guess.
That went Bieber, Lynn, Cole, Ryu, Maeda.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, Shane Bieber wins it. And then I guess the finalists were kind of debated about.
Yeah. But I'm okay with it.
I'm fine.
No one really remembers the finalists.
Yeah, me neither.
And I mean, Kenta Maeda had a very good season no matter what. So.
Yeah, and Hyunjin Ryu played in a very tough American League East, put up a 2.69 ERA, 164 ERA plus. That's a guy I like. And Garrett Cole, just fourth place. Dallas Keuchel had a somewhat lucky season, according to Baseball Savant, finished fifth in the Cy Young. So there's your top five. On to the National League. Trevor Bauer gets 27 first place votes and wins the Cy Young.
One of the most surprising things for me on this ballot is that Bauer, Darvish, and DeGrom were everyone's top three in no particular order. Nobody snuck like Dinelson Lamet in third or Max Fried in third. Like every single person's ballot was Bauer, Darvish, DeGrom in some order.
Yep.
So that was cool to see. I mean, I think there's cases to be made for any of these three candidates. I've seen a lot of people saying it should have been DeGrom because of his peripherals and because of his strikeout numbers. And I get that, but I don't think that run prevention should just be discredited based on what Trevor Bauer actually did rather than what, his FIP and his SIERA said that he would have done. That still is a part of the game. And I think that should stay. And we talk a lot about like batting average should be done away with and RBI should be done away with, and I can get behind that. But I think run prevention, like ERA, WHIP, like stuff like that should still be taken into consideration. ERA plus.
Yeah, I'm right there with you for sure. Call me old school, but I like ERA.
By the way, did you see that commercial that Adidas put out today?
I did.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
That was everything. Like that's the people we make fun of on a daily basis right there.
Yeah. And by the way, anyone that wants to say, and this back to the NL Cy Young, anyone who wants to talk about Trevor Bauer's peripherals, just go to baseballsavant.com, baseballsavant.mlb.com. So, FIP, we talk about FIP is like, this is kind of the ERA when it all evens out. But like expected ERA, I've been preaching expected ERA the whole year, and how it, like, if you this counts expected ERA, it counts everything in between home runs, strikeouts, and walks. It factors in, the ground balls, the hard hit fly balls that end up being outs. So Trevor Bauer had a 2.17 expected ERA, and that was in the 99th percentile in all of baseball. So if you want to talk about peripherals, there it is. There's your peripherals.
Yeah, that's right
there, baseballsavant.com. It's 2020. We have these things. So it was better. His peripherals, I believe, were better than both in terms of expected ERA, but better than both DeGrom and Darvish. So I don't get. Yeah, that's the thing that bothers me a bit about FIP, especially now, is we have all the data, and we have these things that factor in.
I think that's why. I think that's why people look less towards FIP and more towards something like SI ERA, because that does sort of add in like the strikeouts and the home runs and the walk stuff like that. The only thing it doesn't really have is the Statcast data that expected ERA has, and
Yeah.
I believe DeGrom was the leader in SI ERA as well.
Yeah, but SI ERA, I have a bit of an issue with too, because they value they're big on ground balls. I'm pretty sure, right? Like if you have a high ground ball percentage, that equates to a good SI ERA, but that's not necessarily a big thing either. I mean, you want to avoid line drives, but getting a fly ball out is valuable too. I mean, you look at the ground ball rates of like Max Scherzer or Garrett Cole. They work up in the zone. They get soft contact in the air. So that I always look to Baseball Savant for that stuff, because also if you look at SIERA, it's usually very similar to a guy's FIP. It doesn't really alter that much, so I don't really go for that either.
I mean, well, Dallas Keuchel had a 4.57 SIERA, and he's like he's a ground ball machine. So, yeah, I don't think it always factors in ground balls as much, but like
I just remember reading their description. Maybe it's changed, but I don't know. It rarely, like, there's rarely that much of a difference between the SIERA and the FIP. So I just kind of disregard it.
Yeah. There's also like ERA minus, FIP minus, XFIP minus, which is like, I believe, league adjusted.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, it's about getting wins and putting your team in a position to win the ball
That's right.
game.
I mean, that's why Jacob deGrom should never have won a Cy Young. I mean, he only has 25 wins between 2018 and 2020. It's an absolute disgrace. The guy can't win games. It's as simple as that.
We're talking about Trevor Bauer and Yu Darvish. I'm looking at Trevor Bauer's record. It's 5-4. He shouldn't even be on this stupid.
No,
list.
he almost lost more than he won.
Yeah. And then you got Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish went 8-3. That's a Cy Young winner.
That's a Cy Young winner. Okay.
Either him or Max Fried. Max Fried was undefeated, went 7-0.
That's
so.
I mean, ultimately, you're right. We talk about all this expected ERA and this SI ERA, but really, it's just about who wins you the game, because that's what you do. Yeah, the team with the best ERA doesn't win the World Series. It's the team with the most wins. We all know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I never saw someone's SIERA help win a World Series. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. He was worried about winning the ball game.
He didn't even know what that was. He couldn't even spell it.
Yeah. He was illiterate. Probably.
Yeah.
Just like Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Do you think Christy Mathewson was illiterate?
No, but for the parody of it.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it could have been.
You could function in the early 1900s without the ability to read.
Yeah.
I think it's been.
I mean, you could definitely pitch without it too.
For sure. All you got to know is what number he's putting down, which is probably a 1.
They didn't even have like catcher signs. It was just throw the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, Christy Mathewson's from Pennsylvania. Yeah, he could probably read. He was from a fairly educated part of the U.S. in the late 1800s.
Yeah, I mean, it's Quaker territory.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I think the Amish still read. So,
did anyone ever tell Christy Mathewson about his 1.29 FIP in his 1908 season?
No, he never. No one ever got to him about that. What was his ERA that year?
1.43.
So no one was telling him that he was unlucky.
No,
that's unfortunate.
He lost 11 games.
What?
He lost 11 games, but he also won 37 games, so it's pretty good.
37-11. Yeah.
That's not bad.
What year was that?
08.
1908.
Yeah.
I wonder what him and Hannes Wagner's matchups were like.
I was just looking at if they were in the same division as Hannes Wagner.
Well, National League.
They were in the National League. Do we have Hannes Wagner splits from that year?
All right. You know what? We're gonna take a break from these awards. And
they finished tied with Pittsburgh that year. So
And we're gonna take a look at.
do we have Hannes Wagner splits from the
Right.
1908
I'm
season?
going Christy Mathewson. So this is, this could be a lesson for the anyone trying to find some versus batter splits. So I'm at Christy Mathewson's baseball reference page, finders and advanced stats versus batter. And then we got to break it down to just 1908.
I don't think
Actually, no, they don't have those.
I don't think they did. Yeah, they do have splits though. So I was at least able to find Hannes Wagner in his incredible 1908 season, probably the best season for a shortstop of all time.
Yeah.
This man against the New York Giants, he played 22 games against them, had 94 plate appearances, and had a ever so loving slash line of 333, 376, 563, 940. So, I mean, he did what he needed to do against the Giants. Wasn't his best team. He absolutely destroyed the Boston Doves. In 22 games and 96 plate appearances, he slashed 400, 440, 671, 1110.
Yeah.
So,
And an 1110 OPS back then was like a 270 OPS plus.
it literally was. Well, he had a sub 1,000 OPS that season, and he still had a 206 OPS plus, I think.
Yeah, I think 206 or 205. Yeah. Well, that was like the peak of the dead ball era. The league OPS, I remember because of the history episode. The league OPS that year was 602.
Yeah.
It was insane.
It was hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, he was awful in March and April. He played 8 games, had 33 plate appearances, and had a 581 OPS. It's literally below average.
Yeah. Wait. Who are you talking about? What?
Hannes Wagner in 1908.
Oh, against who?
Just in general.
Oh, wait. What do you 1908?
March and April.
Oh, March and April. Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that part. But yeah.
Okay.
So that's the National League Cy Young Award thing. Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, so anyway, we were talking about Hannes Wagner. Bauer.
So yeah, that's what I have to say about peripherals is
that's what I love about, by the way, I'm just gonna say this now. At the end of this show, we're going to bring back the baseball reference front page segment.
Yes.
I just thought of it now, and it's gonna happen.
Yeah, we'll do that. It can only lead to more, because now we're good on baseball history based on what we've done for the podcast.
Yeah, so now we can talk about PEP orders for 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's really just who could ever not want to do that, really?
Yeah, and it won't be organized like the history episodes, but it'll be a nice 5 to 10 minutes on a certain player.
Yep.
We'll get into that later. But yeah, Trevor Bauer, peripherally, according to StatCast, he did just fine. I should go back to Savant, look at more stats on him. But yeah, he did give up a good amount of homers for a guy who won the Cy Young. However, and he wasn't like preventing walks a crazy amount, although it was below, I think, 3 walks per 9. But like, yeah, let's see. Hard hit percentage wasn't great, but like xWOBA, 99th percentile, expected ERA, 99th percentile, expected batting average, 97th, expected slugging, 93%. So, I mean, he put himself in a good position, usually 2.17 expected ERA and 15.8% pop-up percentage. That's a big deal.
Wow.
Because the MLB average for pop-up percentage is 7.1. So that's
double the average.
He had double the average for pop-up percentage. Pretty big deal. And fly ball percentage, 26.5%. That doesn't include line drives. That was above the average, and his line drive percentage was below average. So I think Trevor Bauer cut it for Cy Young.
Yeah.
I think the only question was the competition in the Central, which I broke down last week. I think it outdoes whatever DeGrom did. in the National League East.
Also,
Yeah.
DeGrom missed one of his starts, which I think was much more key than a lot of people would consider.
And Bauer missed a start too, but he made up for it in innings. He had 73
Well,
innings.
Bauer, he wants to pitch every fourth day, right?
That's true. He wants it in his contract. Yeah,
It'd
he
be
wants
really
to.
funny. I'm telling you, it'd be so funny if he signs with the Angels, so they have Bauer going every fourth day and then Ohtani going every Sunday.
Yeah, that's gonna be a real wild ride.
Yep.
And what was the last thing I was gonna say? Bauer, he had 73 innings and 11 starts. I think DeGrom had 68 in like 12 starts.
Mhm.
Bauer had almost 7 innings per start, which I don't think anyone was really that close to him. So he kind of carried them in whatever game he was going to pitch.
Yeah.
And I think he had like 10 quality starts or something like that. But yeah. And now to MVP, there was one slam dunk. There's one slam dunk candidate, or one
Well, there were
slam dunk
two
race.
slam dunk candidates, but not all of them got it.
There was one slam dunk. One guy who won it that definitely should have won it, and then there was one that was kind of hotly contested. Should we get? I guess we'll get into NL MVP first. Although he didn't win unanimously, Freddie Freeman wins the MVP, wins his first career Most Valuable Player award.
That's right, Freddie Freeman. I'm happy for him. I think everyone in baseball is and I know that's, I'm not saying we voted for him because we're happy for him and he's a great guy. He deserved it. Like, he was the rightful owner of that MVP trophy. That nobody else deserved it more than he did. He got 28 first place votes, and also shout out to Bob Nightingale for being one of the 2 people who to vote Mookie Betts first, because that's a Bob Nightingale thing to do.
Yep.
Luckily, Bob Nightingale is off the hook because his first place vote for Mookie Betts was not the main story. Do you want to get into this, Chris?
Oh yeah, not a first place vote, but an MVP vote. Went to of course, on the Cubs, you've got guys who were deserving of the award. You got the Chicago Cubs. They made it first place this year. So you're thinking, you got Yu Darvish in there. He was great. He was good enough to get MVP votes. You got Ian Happ on there, 866 OPS this year. He really broke out in 2020. And of course, you got Ryan Tepera, who had a 3.92 ERA in 20 2/3 innings pitched as a reliever.
Ryan Tepera, he's lucky he wasn't awful this year, because this is the most absurd. We always joke about Kevin Pillar getting an MVP vote last year. This is on another level, because he quite literally wasn't supposed to get this vote. There was a St. Louis writer who straight up misclicked. He straight up clicked the wrong button. He meant to put Trey Turner for his 10th place vote, but instead he picked Ryan Tepera because he was the next guy alphabetically. Didn't double check his ballot at all and submitted it with Ryan Tepera having an MVP vote.
Yeah, and that's why that's why we have to have fairness in our voting systems. This is what people have been talking about in terms of our voting systems. Are they trustworthy? And apparently not.
No, I mean, to be fair, Tepera was honestly one of the more underrated relievers in the National League this year. His K percentage was in the 94th percentile. His whiff percentage and his whiff percentage was in the 99th percentile. His expected slugging was in the 89th percentile. So he was very good this year. Of course, it's not MVP vote worthy, but he didn't have a bad season by any means.
No, it's
the fact that he got an MVP vote is just insane. I hope this becomes like another joke, because a lot of people, I saw someone today that put out like a mock Hall of Fame ballot, but then they stuck the name Tepera in there. Like I'm gonna go with Bonds, Clemens, Schilling, Roland, Tepera.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's hilarious that
Sorry, I meant to type Sheffield.
he's gonna
The alphabet.
yeah, he's gonna just come in as a reliever next year as a guy who received MVP votes. Like the relievers who received MVP votes this year were Tepera, Devin Williams, and Liam Hendricks. Or wait, no, that was Cy Young vote. And
MVP votes
Liam Hendricks didn't even get on the MVP vote. It was him
It's
and
literally
Williams.
just Devin Williams and Ryan Tepera.
Yeah.
They both got 10th place vote.
Yeah.
By the way, at least it was a 10th place vote too. Imagine if he accidentally gave him like a 5th place vote.
Yeah, and like
Also, I don't have access to this right now, but I would like to know the one person that I put Fernando Tatis Jr. as their 10th place vote.
Yeah,
I want to hear the logic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there was a deep like class in terms of like guys you could put there, but Tatis was
top 5.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought Juan Soto should have gotten more consideration for it, but the time he missed kind of messed him up a little there. The guy had a 200 OPS plus, a 490 on base percentage, and I believe a 1200 OPS. I mean, he ended up getting 5th in the vote. He ended up getting 10 5th place votes and also 3 second place votes. I probably would have given him a 2nd place vote, honestly.
Yeah, I would have put him maybe. I mean, I don't know. I might have put him ahead of Machado. I think I probably would have put Betts ahead of him. I'm not sure. 5th place. I mean, like, and I mentioned this. He accumulated like 75% of the plate appearances that Freeman did, and like pretty much everyone else. But I mean, I guess Betts missed 5 games, so that's not as big of a deal. Machado played all 60. Tatis Jr. played 59. It's really semantics and like how much do you value the 13 games that he missed. I mean, in terms of performance, overall,
and it's not like he was on a good team anyway.
Yeah.
I know we try and discredit that, but like, with the time he missed, it's not helping his cause that he was also on a last place team.
Yeah, and in terms of like game for game performance, outside of guys who played like just 5 games or whatever, he probably was the best. But it's tough. It's tough when you miss basically equivalent to a quarter of the season, almost at least 20% of the season.
He had an 1185 OPS.
It was pretty crazy.
So I guess we're gonna move on now.
Yeah, that's the awards. Went in tons of different directions. Some more. What?
Did we go in depth on AL MVP, or do we want to?
Oh yeah. Oh right. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought by moved on. I thought you meant. But yeah, I forgot we didn't do the American League MVP. It threw me off.
Before I get into this, I would just like to say that I'm happy for Jose Abreu. He is a very, very touching story of how he had to defect from Cuba, some of the struggles that he had to go through, and some of the adversity that he had to face on that journey. He obviously came over, immediately made an impact on the White Sox, won Rookie of the Year, and stuck it out through the bad years. And he ended up signing an extension with the team, which the fans weren't happy with because he was blocking a prospect. And Chris, I remember we defended this. We were like, no, like Abreu should be in there. Like he's a staple on that team. And if Andrew Vaughn comes up and he does better, you move him somewhere else. And with that being said, I'm happy for Jose Abreu. I'm glad that he is an MVP in his trophy case. But Jose Ramirez is the rightful owner of that award.
Okay. I think, I mean, we talked about it. I don't think it was far and away Jose Ramirez. Jose Abreu, I think, definitely had a case. Abreu, he reached base in 55 of the 60 games that they played. He was very consistent. His OPS was within 6 points of Ramirez's, but I think traditional statistics was part of the reason that Abreu won that award.
He led the league in RBIs.
Yeah, he led the league in RBI. I think he led the league in hits too.
Yeah.
He hit 317. Jose Ramirez hit 292.
Also, there was the one caveat though is that he did lead the major or the American League in slugging percentage.
Yeah, he did. 19 home runs compared to Ramirez's 17. Yeah, interesting. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to gauge like what the BBWAA award like writers are valuing, because I mean, remember 2018, everyone was scared that DeGrom wasn't going to get the Cy Young, but he ended up getting like 29 first place votes out of 30. But this year, it seemed to be with the AL MVP voting, they seem to go kind of more a traditional route. So it's kind of hard to gauge with these writers.
I think that, I mean, you can honestly make the case that Abreu was a better hitter than Ramirez, but Ramirez, it was such a better all-around player. Abreu's defense kind of isn't really as sharp, I would say. I think that's a lot of what Jose Ramirez's case goes into. And, Abreu, obviously he had a really good offensive season. I'm not denying that, but I think the defense and the base running and everything else goes to Ramirez by a wider margin than what Abreu had over him in offense.
Yeah, that's kind of what I went with. And for me, it was mostly the base running. Like, Jose Ramirez was part of the illustrious 10-10 club.
Yeah, he was
10 home runs, 10 stolen bases. That's kind of that gets you an MVP in my book. But yeah, I think in terms of defense, though, at least according to StatCast, Jose Abreu was not bad defensively. I think he had, I'm trying to look here, Jose Abreu had 2 outs above average, and Jose Ramirez, I believe, had 1 out above average. Although
also like I think the defensive positioning is that taken into account for outs above average?
I'm not
playing
I'm not
third.
sure. It's hard to gauge. I mean, I still probably give the advantage to Ramirez because he does play a harder position as well.
Yeah,
at third base. I'm trying to play devil's advocate.
I mean, don't forget that Ron Washington said that first base is incredibly hard.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I did say that Ramirez deserved it, but I think there was a case for Abreu. I'm not terribly mad.
I'm not as mad as most people are, but I think that Ramirez should have won it.
Yeah, me too. But like in terms of like when I look back at the 2020 American League MVP and I see, and I'm looking at Jose Abreu's baseball reference page and I see the bold at the end on the right, all the way to the right. I see the bold MVP-1. Yeah. I don't think it's that tainted like
Terry Pendleton,
or not. I don't know if tainted's the right word, but it's not like, oh, that should have been like, that clearly should not
just
be.
Just say 1991 Terry Pendleton and get it over with.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see it that way. Or if I see, Jose Ramirez MVP-2 next to his 2020, I'm like, maybe he should have won, but yeah, I'm not. It was a hard award to pick. I would have picked Ramirez. The writers, you would have picked Ramirez. The writers disagreed with us. But 60 game season, over a 162 game season, Ramirez probably ultimately does better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was hard to gauge. This year.
So that's the awards recap.
Yeah. So now into more accolades that all these players can add to their list. It's the second annual all-MLB team. And I kind of get why there wasn't an all-MLB team before this, because you have like silver sluggers and gold gloves and stuff like that you can add to a resume. But now we have the all-MLB team. And
Which is voted on by the fans, I believe.
it's voted on. It's the 50% of the vote consideration is fans and 50% is writers, I believe.
That should be how the All-Star game voting works.
I would agree with that.
Because I am not cool with Hall of Fame vote or well that too, but All-Star game voting.
Well, actually, I would say that for when the World Series home field advantage was being decided based on that, but now I don't really care.
I don't really care, but like when we had like the Royals fans trying to get like Omar Infante as the starting second baseman, it was like, guys, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Stuff
it
like
was.
that. It's like that's that. No, now we're taking it too far.
Yeah, this is enough. The fans have abused their powers. It's time to
Exactly.
get the adults in the room. But
Of
yeah, I
course,
mean,
we are perfect at predicting or judging baseball players. There's nobody better at it than us. So anything that we say here, that is final. Our opinion means more than anything else. So the people that we put on our all MLB teams, they are on the all MLB teams. There is no one else that can say otherwise.
yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. The if you can't tell the satire on that, but I mean, if there might be one or two announcements that will alter with ours, but most of these are pretty clear cut. I mean, I guess we'll start with I guess we can start with catcher, go based off of the scorebook numbers.
I did.
So catcher I have, and I'm not gonna go into the numbers.
There's no need.
Catcher I have JT Real Muto, just based on the whole package. Like Salvador Perez had better offensive numbers, but
Less
he
playing
played
time
in
because he was hurt.
significantly less games.
Yeah.
So I have JT Real Muto.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much of a reason to go into the numbers. I put JT Realmuto as well. He was there, to put it quite simply, he was the best catcher in baseball this year, and he just is the best catcher in baseball overall. Currently a free agent, so I'm excited to see what comes of his free agency, where he decides to go. If the Phillies keep him, if he goes in division somewhere else. But with that being said, JT Realmuto is my catcher on the All MLB team.
Yeah, JT Real Muto, like, he's one of the better defensive guys. He was right up there in terms of offensive ranks. So that's why I put him ahead of guys like Austin Nola, Salvador Perez, or Yasmani Grandal. He just was that guy as a catcher. And first base, Freddie Freeman.
Yep.
That's who I have.
Yeah.
First base, Freddie Freeman. And then we move on to second base, which is going to be DJ LeMahieu.
Correct.
And then I guess in the scorebook, it's number 5. So I guess third base first, or do we go shortstop first?
I did third base first.
Third base, I have Jose Ramirez.
I did too.
Our pick for American League MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And shortstop, this is where I think it got interesting in terms
of. I
think
it got interesting too.
Yeah, because I had 2 guys I was looking at fiercely when it came to this, and I think there's 3 good candidates in Tatis Jr., or maybe even 4 good candidates in Tatis Jr., Turner, Corey Seager, and Trevor Story. Ultimately, it came down to 2 guys for me, and ultimately, between Tatis Jr. and Trey Turner, I chose Fernando Tatis Jr.
Oh, well, Chris, I happen to have chose Trey Turner for this award.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at us disagreeing.
Trey Turner led Tatis in average, OBP, slugging percentage, OPS, WOBA, and weighted runs created plus, and was only 0.2 off of him in WAR.
Yeah, I think that Turner outdid him offensively, especially at the plate. I'm kind of comparing. Yeah, they played the same amount of games.
Really no better base runner in the league than Trey Turner. I would just like to put that out there.
Yeah, and Trey Turner outdid him on the bases, but Fernando Tatis Jr. had 7 outs above average, and I think I put them like neck and neck, like right there. And and Tatis Jr. had a 400 batting average with runners in scoring position. Trey Turner was right up there at 378. They were pretty even, and I gave
think
Tatis Jr. the advantage.
I gave Turner the advantage just because he was noticeably better than him on offense and all facets.
Yeah.
So that's why I went with Trey Turner.
Yeah, and Turner wasn't necessarily a negative on defense. I think he had two
He was
outs above.
82nd percentile of outs above average.
Yeah, he had 2 outs above average compared to Tatis Jr.'s 7. So either way, I don't get mad at it. I was really wondering, like, is it Tatis Jr.? Is it Turner? I
Mhm.
gave it to Tatis Jr. And also, I think his ballpark adjusted statistics, the gap isn't as big. When you compare the two, I think it's 8-point differential in weighted runs created plus. But yeah, I mean, you could really give it to either of them.
Yeah, it is 157 to 149.
Yep.
But the WOBA is a little bit bigger for Turner. It's 413 to 392.
Yeah. So and then we move on to the outfield, where it could get interesting. It's any combination of outfielders, although I do have specifically left fielder, center fielder, right fielder for mine.
I didn't do that, but the three
I-
I chose ended up correlating with that.
Yeah, I didn't do it either. I just correlation. So I think we both have the same guys, I think.
Juan Soto,
Yeah, Juan Soto,
Mike Trout,
Mike Trout,
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts. Yep.
We have the same outfield.
So yeah, I mean the list is like when you go to the website, it's closed now, but when you go to the website and vote on it, they pick any 3 outfielders.
Mhm.
The only bubble guy that I was considering was Mike Yastrzemski, but his defensive numbers on Statcast were actually kind of bad,
They were yike.
and Trout's were kind of around average. So
That's
I
kind of
put-
been Trout's entire career with like the defensive metrics. It's always been like average to below average, which is weird. Like he's never won a Gold Glove before, and he probably never will.
yeah, I mean Trout, he was better defensively earlier in his career,
12,
but I
13.
mean he's
Like 2012 through 2015, he was like elite defensively, and then he kind of went downhill.
yeah, I mean like he's kind of
He's still very good,
he's
like
yeah,
objectively, like with the eye test, but the eye test also sucks.
yeah. And he made himself built himself as a power hitter. Like he's 230 plus pounds now. You don't see that a lot in center field very much. You know, that's kind of the eye test of it too, is like you don't really see a lot of 235-pound horses out in center
He could
field.
be a guy that becomes a DH later in his career.
Yeah, or just maybe a move to left eventually.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Joe Adele is going to be manning center for that franchise, if he can develop.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a defensive decline for Trout, but ultimately he's in
The
both of
offense is
our
still there.
he's both in both of our all MLB teams. So yeah, we got Soto, Trout, and Betts in both of our outfields. Only one disagreement so far at the shortstop position.
Yeah.
And onto our starting pitchers. I didn't
Whoa,
really
whoa, DH?
DH.
Yeah.
I forgot. We were doing too much dead ball era talk. I forgot that the DH existed. Yeah, the DH I put, or wait, who did I put for DH? Oh yeah, Marcell Ozuna.
I put 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Marcell Ozuna was the best DH this year. Shout out to the National League implementing that this year, debated for next year, oddly enough.
They do. I hope they
And
keep
then on to starting pitchers, where I don't know if I can think of the order in my head, but
I didn't do it in any particular order.
Yeah.
I just kind of threw 5 guys out there.
Shane Bieber's the first guy you got to put down.
Of course.
Then I would put Trevor Bauer next.
I didn't put him next, but I kind of just put it in random order.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't put him in any order particularly, but just in my head, I'm going through. Then I got Darvish. Do you have Darvish?
I do.
Then I also have Jacob deGrom.
Yep.
And my last one, which is kind of the more wild card guy that could be contested, but I put him
Can I
in.
guess? I think I know who it is.
I I don't think it's that. I think it's a pretty
I mean, it's
standard.
not. I mean, okay. I feel like there could be a difference here.
Yeah.
Is
What's
this a
your
particular-
fifth
Is
guy?
this a particular how about that of yours?
No, I don't
Okay,
think
never
so.
mind. I was thinking maybe Max Fried.
No, no, I put in Dinelson Lamet.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah. He was just, he outdid everyone in the American League.
Mhm.
And he finished fourth in the Cy Young, so the voters agree with us. But yeah, I think he was a top 5 pitcher in baseball this year.
And just to finish it off, I'll finish it off here for relievers. I mean, I kind of just took the chalk picks, Devin Williams and Ryan Tepera, the two MVP vote getters. No. I put Devin Williams and Liam Hendricks. That's the correct answer.
Yeah, I did as well. So yeah, ultimately one disagreement from us.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Before the show, I said over under 1.5, so the under hit.
Yeah. For anyone,
If
anyone
I were
who
to
wanted to
predict,
bet that.
if I knew there was going to be one disagreement and I had to predict it, I would have said shortstop.
Yeah, that's because that was where the mind seesaw was going for me. I had really no idea who I was gonna pick. And yeah, and also the whole year everyone was talking about Tatis, but Turner ultimately was better offensively.
Yeah.
So, kind of threw a wrench into that situation.
Yep.
So there's the all-MLB team. That's outside of one difference, that's who should be the all-MLB guys.
Yep.
According to us. Shortstop. We'll see who wins shortstop. I would guess Tatis wins
I think
it.
Tatis will win the fan vote for sure.
Yeah.
I think honestly he probably wins the writer vote too. I think Tatis wins it. But my opinion says Turner.
Yeah, and it's not always
if that's the agreement, then so be it.
The popular answer isn't always the right answer.
No, see Omar Vizquel's Hall of Fame voting last year.
Yeah, it was above 50%, right?
No problem. It's 52%. It's not
wow.
okay.
That's an issue.
Only 48% of baseball writers know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, the Hall of Fame vote. I mean, half of those guys don't even really write about baseball. It's weird.
No, half 3/4 of those people, no one even knows who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
I still have not forgiven or forgotten Anthony Reber.
Yep, definitely not.
Absolute trash. Who he for context, this guy dropped Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Larry Walker in his last year. I think Vizquel too, but we won't talk about that. And I think there was one other, may have been Manny, may have been Helton, something like that. Either way, he dropped 5 or 6 people from his ballot so he could exclusively make a Jeter only ballot because he wanted Jeter to be the only one up there on that stage. Even though there was another election where someone would have been put in, and even if he was the only one to get in through the BBWAA, which he wasn't, he wouldn't have been the only guy up there. He was going to be there with Ted Simmons, and he's going to be there with the family of Marvin Miller. Obviously, it's going to be more people now, but we wouldn't have known that back then. But regardless, an abomination of a ballot if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I mean, the whole we talked about it all last offseason. The whole Derek Jeter situation is just hilarious. He wasn't even the best. We would say probably not the best guy on the ballot.
No, he's not even the best guy that got in.
Yeah, it's in terms of wins above replacement. Yeah, not even the best guy.
And even just offensive production as a whole, Larry Walker was better as a whole.
Yeah, Larry Walker had a better road OPS than Jeter had OPS by a significant margin too.
Yes, it was 30, 40 points.
Yeah, I think
Walker's, I think it was an 840 OPS and Jeter's is 870.
I think Walker's was 865.
Yeah, hold on, because I can tell you off the top of my head that Derek Jeter had an 817 career OPS. Larry Walker's road OPS, because everyone wants to talk about cores, even though he only played, he played 10 years in Colorado, but still, less than half of his career games are at Coors Field. He had a 965 career OPS, which is light years ahead of where Jeter was. So with that being said, Larry Walker's career road OPS was literally 865, like you said, on the dot.
Yeah, I just remembered that.
Yeah.
It's
And
crazy.
for the record, his home OPS was 1068. Not bad.
Yeah, pretty good. Like, even if you're at Coors, like that's pretty wild to have a
He's
1068
he's doing
OPS.
what he's supposed to be doing. What do you want from him?
You're doing more than what you're supposed to be doing for sure.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's our all MLB team. That's our little rant on Hall of Fame writers.
Yeah.
Some last couple headlines of news. This one definitely smaller than the last one we'll get to. Kevin Gausman and Marcus Stroman both accepting qualifying offers, which I kind of get because you don't really know what the free agent market's going
Yeah.
to look like.
The qualifying offer is $18 million over 1 year, which is a pretty good average annual value, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
The caveat is that it's only for 1 year. Gausman, I don't think I'm too surprised with. And he's always been such an under the radar guy that has potential. And I think last year was one of his better seasons with San Francisco. So I'm glad to see him getting some good money. Last year, a 3.62 ERA with an even better FIP of 3.09. Sadly, he was unqualified with 59 and 2/3 innings pitched.
Yep.
So that stinks. But he only made 10 starts. Actually made 2 relief appearances during the year.
Yeah. Almost 12 strikeouts per 9.
11.9 strikeouts per 9. Really, really good. This was, I mean, I think it's fair to say, albeit the shortened season, but this is probably the best season of Kevin Gausman's career.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, if he can have 2 consecutive good seasons like that, he can make some bank on the free agent market in 2022, even if he's looked at as more of a number 2 guy. I mean, he's 29 years old right now. And yeah, I mean, peripherally, very good. Expected ERA 3.49, very good year, and he's getting $18 million this year. And I don't, I think it's appropriate that he accepted the qualifying offer. See what free agents like, a year after this.
Yeah, he can figure. I mean, this would be a perfect year. I mean, realistically, he probably wasn't getting more than like maybe a 2-3 year deal.
Yeah,
and even that might be considered a stretch. Like, he probably would have gotten a 1-year deal, most realistically speaking, from somewhere else, and it would probably be less than $18.9 million. So this would be a good year to try and build up his stock, and then maybe head out of San Francisco with a 2 or 3 year deal from a contending team.
Yeah, because we've talked about it. He's always had the potential, and now I think it seems that he's living up to it. I'm trying to see. I mean, his walk numbers were never terrible. It's kind of hit prevention that's been his problem.
Yeah,
and did a good job of doing that last year. And then I guess the more surprising one for sure, because we talked about this guy and his free agency earlier in the year when he
when he left the Mets.
Yeah, he opted out of the season after qualifying for free agency with the amount of service time he got, and now he's back with the Mets. Getting a qualifying offer. Definitely getting more money than he would have had he opted out earlier, but still, a surprising move, kind of staying with the Mets. Thankfully for Steve Cohen.
This guy is very, very under the radar, Chris. And I really want to point that out because Marcus Stroman is a guy who is a legitimate like 2 or 3 in your rotation, and it's not like he has to go through the pressure of being an ace because they have Jacob deGrom, who is probably the best pitcher in all of baseball, at least over the last 3 years, even though he can't win a game, but that's okay. Stroman is a guy who, I mean, listen, albeit he did opt out of the season last year. I don't really blame him for that. I mean, he wasn't the only Mets player who opted out mid-season, so
yeah.
Obviously, there was something going on within that clubhouse, whatever it may have been. But I'm happy to see him back in New York. He's a Long Island guy, so it is cool to see him in a market. And it's not like he's on the Yankees where like he's sort of restricted by the culture within that franchise. Like he can be himself with the Mets, which I really do think is big for him on a both on a professional level and just on a personal level. Like I think he pitches. I think it would, he can pitch better when he, can be this, that outspoken guy on the mound, who's very just fierce and competitive. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't have much to say on that. The fact that he missed this year entirely probably wouldn't have helped his free agent chances anyway. So I think it does make a bit of sense for him to accept the qualifying offer.
Yeah, I would agree. A qualifying offer kind of makes sense for him. With yeah, I mean, and he in his tweet he mentioned Steve Cohen,
Yeah,
so that probably played a bit of a factor.
yeah. I mean,
And
there's never been a better time to be a Met than right now.
yeah, not really. And like, we mentioned you mentioned that going to the Yankees would be different because of the culture not really being a culture that maybe Marcus Stroman would thrive in, but also like the Yankees are a team that's overdue for a World Series, so that's a championship or bust team. With the Mets, you're on a kind of hopeful organization. You're, anything, you know, you don't have the highest of expectations, but people are just kind of hopeful. They're not really expecting much yet, but they're thinking maybe this can be a really good team in the future.
I mean, Cohen has said like
But
he wants to win a World Series within the next 3 to 5 years.
yeah.
Mhm.
So this is a good organization to be with. Maybe he's kind of testing the waters more with the Mets, maybe thinking that he can get extended eventually. Like if he has a good year this year, maybe he gets a good deal with the Mets. Um, Sticking with the organization because, maybe not average annual value wise, but he probably could have gotten more money on the free agent market with like a 3 or 4 year deal.
Yeah.
But ultimately decided to stick it out with the Mets.
He did, and I'm excited. Like he's gonna be a fun guy to watch. They're gonna hopefully get Syndergaard back next year, um, as a free, from Tommy John surgery. They're gonna have him, DeGrom, and Stroman. That's gonna be a pretty good three-headed monster. If Stroman can get back to form in 2021, which I really don't see a reason why he can't. And then as far as 4-5, we can figure that out. There's a guy, I believe his name is David Peterson, who looked pretty good for them last year. Dylan Peterson, maybe. No, it was
Yeah,
David.
I'm not sure.
He looked pretty good for the Mets last year. He had a 3.44 ERA, albeit a 4.52 FIP. But that's something they can build off of and use as a decent like 4 or 5 starter.
Yeah, and they kept their manager, right? Luis Rojas.
Yeah, and I like that. Like I think Luis Rojas is the guy for the job. Just the Wilpons, maybe Brody Van Wagenen wasn't the right move for the Mets. I think they can clearly be seen. Also, just for the record, Edwin Diaz is way better than everyone wants to believe he is. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, Diaz, 1.75 ERA last year.
With a 2.18 FIP. The only issue is just for whatever reason he just in save situations he's a different guy for some reason. Like 13 blown saves over the last 2 years. I know that obviously isn't good, but
Yeah.
it's very weird. It is very, and his strikeout numbers are off the charts too.
Yeah, so some good news out of Queens there. Definitely looking at them differently than we were, say, a week ago,
Yep.
in terms of what they can do in 2021. So, and the final news we have to get to, it's been cleaning up the headlines all over the place, and it happened. What yesterday?
Friday.
What day did it happen?
Happened on Friday.
Happened on Friday. Kim Ing, is that her
Eng.
name?
Kim Eng.
Eng.
Yes, it's pronounced like ing.
Okay. Kim Ing, who we both had not heard of, but probably should have heard of, entering this job with 30 plus years of major league experience, hired as the first female GM in sports history by the Miami Marlins.
Yeah, this is a big deal. Like regardless, obviously she's breaking a huge barrier that people have been talking about for a long time if we're ever going to see it. And it's someone who earned it. Like, this is not just a PR move by the Marlins. It's not just, oh, they had, other candidates, but because they wanted to make headlines. That's not what this is. Kim Ng was legitimately the most qualified candidate. In fact, she was overqualified for a first-time GM. Susan Waldman went on MLB Network today and directly said, like, she is the most overqualified first-time GM in Major League history. Just for the record, she started out in 1990 being an assistant GM in the Chicago White Sox organization. Then later on, she moved to the New York Yankees, the team that she grew up rooting for. She was there from 1998 to 2001. She was assistant GM is there. And then she went over to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So that's two big markets that she was a part of. And mind you, she was also there for the Yankees dynasty as well. Was an assistant GM with the Dodgers. And then in 2011, she moved into the MLB front office to work with Bud Selig, Rob Manfred, guys like that. So this is someone who has been in and around the game for way longer than we've been alive, Chris. So obviously I'm really happy for her. I'm excited to see the moves that she decides to make with an up and coming franchise like the Marlins. And this is an exciting time to be a baseball fan.
Yeah, it's pretty big, and it probably will help. It should help the Marlins. This is a team that's developing. They kind of got to the playoffs earlier than we would have expected, and getting good earlier than expected. So, I'm not sure what her general manager style will be, because she's been around for 30 years. I don't know if it'll be more old school. I don't know if she's more new age than some people, but we'll see what she brings to the table. I mean, what should be noted is, Brian Cashman is one of the more well-regarded GMs out there, and she worked under him for 4 years.
Yep.
at the peak of the Yankees dynasty. So
Just
that should definitely be noted.
Kim Ng is actually turning 53 years old on the day that this is dropping, November 17th.
Oh, well, happy birthday to Kim Ng.
Happy birthday to Kim Ng. Quite a birthday present, huh?
Yeah. How about that?
How about that?
Yeah. I got a microphone. She got a GM position.
Yeah. You guys are not the same.
Yeah, definitely not. That's what happens when you don't have 30 plus years of major league experience. You get a microphone and you get some cookies for your birthday.
That's right.
Yeah, Kim Ng, it's a big deal. Very socially progressive, but I mean, overall,
I feel like the way the Marlins are as a club, like, they're gotta be excited to have something like this. Like, this is obviously a very special occasion for baseball, and the Marlins are a team that loves to step up to occasions. They embrace the whole bottom feeders mentality when they're in the playoffs last year. Like, they're ready for whatever people throw at them, and like, they are a team that is ready and will step up to the plate for the first female GM in sports.
Yeah, a good moment for them. And yeah, I don't really have too much more to say about it. I mean, it should be interesting to see what her dealings will look like.
And I'm excited to see like who else this opens the door for.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's one name in the Red Sox front office that has been talked about. I forgot the name exactly.
We'll pause this and then you'll put that in if you want to look it up.
Yeah, I mean, Kim Ng, GM, her Red Sox front office woman. Let's see if that pulls up anything.
I know Jared tweeted about it, so
Raquel Ferreira, who is, let's see, this is a CNBC article written about her. She is Boston Red Sox vice president of major and minor league operations for the Red Sox. So that might be a future GM for a team, Raquel Ferreira.
Yeah.
So
that's a name to keep on your radar.
Yep. One of them. So now I guess we move on to the Baseball Reference front page.
We do. I'm looking. We got some names here. I'm just
This is
going.
the first
Oh
time
my god! Do we have the same front page? Because Hannes Wagner is literally literally on here.
I saw him earlier in the hour, so I figured
Fantastic. I mean, we
that we
already
have.
talked about him, so I feel like we should move on. By the way, when we do the baseball front office front page, we're not necessarily looking for the best player. We're just looking for a player we're like, man, like if there's like an I haven't heard that name in years type of guy, that's what we're looking for. So just looking here, we got Cody Allen, former Indians closer.
You got Julio Lugo up there.
Julio Lugo is there. Ozzie Guillen, the manager of the 2005 White Sox, and also Willie Stargell, a Hall of Famer. I kind of want to talk about Julio Lugo just because that's kind of the most
Me too.
arbitrary name. Speaking of birthdays, it is his today on November
Wow.
14th. He just turned
45.
45. He is a noted Red Sox free agent bust.
Yes.
He played 2 years with the Reds. Oh no, played 3 years, or parts of 3 years with the Red Sox. Had an outstanding 664 OPS with a 73 OPS plus, which is awesome. It's exactly what the Red Sox were looking for when they.
Yeah, I mean, I guess 33 stolen bases in 07.
Yeah,
And he had that one catch in the World Series that was nice.
that one catch. Yep. That was fun. Julio Lugo. This is a guy who played for 12 years, and he played for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different teams in 12 years. This guy was moving around. He was a journeyman, so they say. This 2006 season, it was only 73 games long, but it looks pretty good.
Or he split it between the Rays and the Devil Rays and the Dodgers.
Yeah, he played 4 years with the Rays, so his baseball reference pictures with the Tampa Bay. This is with the Devil Rays, by the way. This was before they were the Tampa Bay, just Rays in general.
Yeah.
He had an 871 OPS in 73 games with the Devil Rays in 06. Probably the best overall play of his career. He also hit 308 with them. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. And he had overall in 06, 7 dang.
And he was awful.
He really tanked with the Dodgers.
He built up his stock a ton and then went and tanked with the Dodgers.
And the Red Sox rightfully just signed him for like, I think it was 4
Yeah,
years.
I mean, in fairness, the Red Sox this is before the pitch tracking era, so it's not like they could have seen a ton of him in LA. They probably just saw him in Tampa in the division. They were just like, yeah, give me that guy.
Yeah, I mean, they signed him for, I think it was 4 years, 36 million, something like that.
Sounds about right.
Which was a lot more back then.
Yes.
But yeah. I guess he set the stage for Jed Lowry. I don't know.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Julio Lugo.
I guess we'll keep it Julio Lugo. Yeah, we'll go one guy per every baseball reference page. But yeah, that's our Julio Lugo appreciation, specifically the first half of his 2006 season.
Yeah. Somehow was able to get 13.5 wins above replacement. Ultimately.
Yeah.
I mean, almost.
Wins. He had 2 wins with the Rays and then -1 with the Dodgers.
198 career stolen bases, 39 in 2005. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good time.
He has the same amount of home runs as Omar Vizquel.
80. Yeah, that's true. Was he on the ballot?
He only played 12 years. I mean, he was eligible. No, he wasn't. He was not on the ballot. When did he retire? 11. So he would have been okay. So that would have been a while ago. That would have been 4 years ago that he would have been eligible.
Yeah, would have definitely not made. And also, Julio Lugo should be noted.
Was top 5 in his league in errors committed 6 times. In shortstop, just at shortstop though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to Julio Lugo, and also he was a part of that. Remember that Pirates Braves play? It was like the 18th inning, and it was.
Oh my God! Yes.
It was like the worst call ever.
Yeah.
Maybe I should I should probably screen share that.
Yeah.
That
I just remember there was a guy on the Pirates whose name was McCutcheon, but it was not Andrew, and it was the pitcher.
Yeah. Pirates Braves. Literally,
Daniel
first thing that
McCutcheon.
comes up: Pirates Braves blown call.
Yep.
I
I mean, what else have the Pirates and Braves really done? Like,
mean, the 1992 NLCS
yeah, it's true. It's true.
was the second thing,
I didn't think of that. That's a good point.
but I only saw that because it was in the search bar. But yeah, here we go. If you want to watch on YouTube,
Did Lugo score the game-winning run?
yeah,
Nice.
he's right in there.
Second out is Daniel McCutcheon, and a ground ball to third, breaking for the plate, the throw, and they got him. No, he called him safe. He called him safe. Unbelievable. Jerry Meals called him safe. The throw beat him by a mile. That is incredible.
How can you
He
end?
called him safe.
How can you end
You've
the game?
got to be kidding me, Jerry Meals.
That is remarkable.
That is unbelievable. The throw beat him by a mile.
And he's saying that he wasn't tagged.
That is unbelievable.
This will be later.
You've got to be kidding.
And you're going to end the game like this? This is how the game ends?
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Here's Lugo. The best part about that video that nobody talks about was the fact that the hitter tripped down the first baseline while running to first.
Oh, wait.
You didn't see it?
I'll have to watch that again.
Go back to the replay from behind home plate. Yeah, watch the.
Oh, he falls on his face.
Yeah, nobody talks about that.
Yeah, I'll watch it on mute. But yeah, he falls on his face.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I mean, they could have hypothetically got the guy out at first, although it wouldn't have mattered.
I have a hot take.
What?
Umpires should have to do press conferences.
Um,
Because when like stuff like that happens, they don't have to hold themselves accountable. They don't have to answer questions. They can just leave whenever they want. Like if a pitcher gives up a game-winning home run, he has to sit in front of a press room and get asked about the home run like on repeat. If an umpire completely blows a game like that, there's nothing that has to be done. It's just okay, your job's done. You can go home.
yeah, and like
Jerry Meals should have had to answer questions after that game, being like, "Do you think he was safe?"
yeah.
Tell us-
Although I don't know if any
Walk me through that last play there, Jerry.
Yeah, I don't know if the writers would have any enthusiasm, as it was probably like 2 a.m. at that point.
Imagine the Jim Joyce presser after the Armando Galarraga game.
Yeah, that would have been brutal.
Jim, are you aware that you just committed the worst call in the history of professional sporting events and just cost this young man the greatest moment of his life?
Yeah,
But to be fair, Jim Joyce did hold himself accountable for that.
yeah. He like
He was in tears and he apologized profusely to Galarraga.
yeah. I remember seeing the next day
Yeah.
like what happened.
I remember I was in third grade and my teacher like sat us down. She was like, there was something that happened in baseball yesterday. There's a thing called a perfect game. And it happens when a pitcher goes for the entire game and he gets everybody out. And there was a play where it was the last out and the guy hit it and it was going to be an out, but the umpire called him safe even though he was out, and it ruined the perfect game. My teacher, like, it was like she got a bad note from a sub. Like she was like talking about just this perfect game being ruined. I mean, I was probably one of like the 6 people in the room that actually cared about baseball at that point. I actually hadn't seen it, believe it or not. It was a day game, but I was like, oh my god, like that's the perfect game.
Yeah, it was awful. Yeah, that was what 2010.
Yeah.
2010.
Perfect game. He got a 28 out perfect game.
Yeah, he did. Like
Sad thing is, it can't even be considered a no-hitter. Like when Max Scherzer's perfect game got ruined by Jose Tabata, like it was at least a no-hitter. Armando Galarraga can't even claim that.
yeah, and like yeah, at least Jim Joyce still has one of the, or actually what I was gonna say, replay would have kind of made it weird too, like after like 5 seconds, all of a sudden they can celebrate. That would be the weirdest. That would be the weirdest perfect game celebration ever.
It would be weird, but I'd rather that over,
Yeah, for
not
sure.
having it. Yeah, I mean, replay would have helped in that game too, in the Pirates Braves game.
Yeah, for sure.
Clint Hurdle would have just been like, he wouldn't even had to. Usually, like you would go on the phone. Yeah, he would just been like, nah. Which, to be fair, you don't really have to because it's the end of the game anyway, so it's not like you have anything to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my best like envisions is like, imagine a manager just trolls a team by like, imagine there's like a ground ball like to end a game where the guys, it's the guy's out by 10 steps and like the umpire's just like, nah, I don't know, take a look. Looked out to me.
That would be
Just a troll. Like end of your season, maybe like it's a game 4 of a swept series. You're just like, I don't know, take a look. I think you missed the bag.
like remember the 2004 last out where like Renteria was halfway down the baseline.
Imagine if Tony La Russa was like,
Like-
well, there wasn't a replay then, but imagine if there was Tony La Russa was like, oh, I think he
we're gonna need a second look. All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun.
It was
A fun-filled, tangent-filled episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode 69, our nicest episode yet. Where and if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and you want to watch us talk, you want to watch that blown call of that 2011 game with which Julio Lugo scored the last run, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's called STBNL with Chris Gianta and Daniel Curran. If you want to follow us on social media, follow my Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel's Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran. And follow our show Instagram at STBNL Podcast. And we hope you enjoyed our little news kind of week recap. And we hope to see you for our Steve Carlton history episode on Thursday. We will see you then.